I'm Chris Burek, and I'm the Executive Director of Big Brothers Big Sisters of Clarksville. Big Brothers Big Sisters is a one-to-one mentoring organization. We take youth facing adversity who enroll and say, I want a mentor, and we pair them with a volunteer adult who meets with them 2 to 4 times a month for just 2 to 4 hours each time. And then they develop a friendship, and they serve as sort of a confidant and someone that child can talk to. So nationally, Big Brothers Big Sisters is started in 1904. Here locally, our agency started in 1975. And over the years, we've served up to 400 or 500 kids a year. Through the years, I think we've served probably around 20,000 kids over the course of it, just having mentors for a couple months versus a couple years. Our agency actually just closed one of our longest running matches of 7 years over the summer. When a child either turns 18 or graduates high school, they technically age out of the program, so we graduate them out of our program, and we did that for 2 matches over the summer. So mentoring, it's an amazing thing, but it's a very simple thing. It's really just your time. It's developing a friendship with someone. And so if you think of like when you have big news, or when you have a hard day, or when you're going through something and you want to call that one person in your life, Big Brothers Big Sisters provides that one person. We help kids have somebody to call outside of the situation, outside of whatever happened at school, who they can just call and talk to. And those friendships last years, decades, lifetimes. I just ran into somebody recently at an event and met him, and he said that he was a little in the 90s. And he still to this day calls and talks to his mentor, writes him letters. This guy, you know, he went into the Army, he fought for our country, he now works for the school system, he has a family, and he still contacts his big just to talk every now and then, because that's what that relationship meant to him as a child, and that's what mentors do in our program. I hope that we can say yes to every kid who says, I want a mentor. I hope that we can grow and manage that growth responsibly. But I hope that in the end we can serve more children. It's a slow process. Right now we have 17 kids approved and waiting for a volunteer, and then we have about 40 kids behind them who we haven't processed in yet because we want to manage that wave. But all told, I could say we have about 50 kids who have reached out and said, I want a mentor. And we just have to find those mentors. Partly school, partly community. So in our community-based program, that's the traditional one that people think of, where you go and pick the child up and take them out to do something in the community. The parents are usually the ones reaching out, and then the child obviously wants to be a part of the program too. But the parent reaches out and says, I want a mentor for my child, so we enroll them in our community-based program. In our school-based program, those children are recommended by the teacher and the guidance counselor, and they go through a process of enrollment as well. Our school-based program does need a lot of mentors right now. That's where we're struggling the most. People think of that community-based, and they want to teach a child how to work on a car, or they want to teach a child, to fish and things like that. So that's kind of what they think of, and that's what they have in their mind when they want to volunteer as a mentor, which is great because we do have a lot of those. But then the school-based one is where you actually go into the school during the school day. So you don't have to worry about transportation, you don't have to worry about coordinating a meeting time or thinking of what to do. We have activity boxes at the school, and the mentor can go into the school during the school day at a set time, play a game with the child, talk to them, maybe work on schoolwork a little bit, but really just kind of have that conversation of, how's your day going? How's your week going? What are you looking forward to? Let's play a game of Connect 4, and then that child can go back to class. That one, because it happens during the week, and I think people don't always think about that program, that's where we're really focusing our recruitment, is on that school-based program. It's grants is the biggest pie in our funding. We have a grant from United Way. We're a partner with them. We've had Community Health Foundation grants, but we are trying to grow the other sources of revenue. We know that in any business, to be successful, you need multiple streams of revenue, and so we're growing our events, and then we're trying to grow our individual giving campaigns as well, where people are sustaining donors who are donating to us monthly or quarterly. We offer any activity someone is interested in. If you like art, I have a little for that. If you like science, I have a little for that. If you like the history of the Titanic, we have a little who we interviewed who is into that. So it really just depends on what the volunteer and the child want to learn, want to do, that's kind of what they end up doing. We do try to host match activities once a quarter where we either all go bowling or we get all the matches together to do a park cleanup. We'll get matches together we've toured by county dump and learned about where your trash goes. So we try to get matches together about once a quarter so that they have that kind of community around them. The littles can meet the other littles, the volunteers can meet the other volunteers, but those kind of vary just by year, by quarter of what we're doing. We need volunteers and funding. Those are always going to be our two major things. So partnering with Planners Bank is going to help with part of that, and then recruiting more volunteers, especially for our school-based program, is going to be a big focus. The funding from Seasons of Giving from Planners Bank will probably help with our volunteer recruitment efforts. We are focused on getting more school-based volunteers, so I think we're going to use that to sort of ramp up on those volunteer recruitment efforts. So we are planning a few fundraisers, and we can always use help with that, whether it's connections to different sponsors or putting a team into an event or being on one of the planning committees. If you want to reach out in that way, we can use that help. And then if you are connected to a large organization or a group of people who you think some of them might want to become mentors, inviting us in to speak about becoming a mentor, about becoming a volunteer, and what that looks like in our agency and answering questions on that. We love to make new friends, and we like to speak to groups, so being able to connect us to that is a huge help. Please purchase the product from the Commerce Street location of Planners Bank during this season of giving to benefit Big Brothers Big Sisters of Clarksville.